Chapter 81. 81, 3 Golden Core Realm Cultivators. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 81. 3 Golden Core Realm Cultivators. Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations. It was level 3 demon beasts of the inky Python Mountain. When Yun Dongshan, Shen Yuanlong, and the others saw the 4 new demon beasts, they immediately recognized them. This made their hearts sink. 5 demon beasts from the secluded mountain, 4 level 3 demon beasts from the inky Python Mountain, and lastly, 1, 2, and 3. 3 Violet Palace Realm Demonic Cultivators. There were a total of 12 combat strengths above the Violet Palace Realm. It seemed that they were really determined to occupy Flat Land County. This was not including some level 4 Dharma treasures they might be carrying. Yun Dongshan and Shen Yuanlong looked at each other and felt helpless. Could it be that the Shen immortal family is going to be eliminated today? Shen Yuanlong was indignant. However, there was nothing he could do. Because with their strength, it was impossible for them to defeat so many enemies. It wouldn't change anything even if Zhang Baiyang and Song Hui came to their aid. There was no way to reverse the situation. Unless Immortal Palong was here now. However, the probability was too low. As if knowing what was on Shen Yuanlong's mind, the demonic cultivator said with a chuckle, "Do you think Immortal Palong will come over to help you?" To tell you the truth, Phantom Demon, Xiao Xiang, and the Black Wind Snake King of the Inky Python Mountain are waiting to deal with him on the path he has to pass to get here. Therefore, don't give yourself false hope. Today, the entire Flat Land County will become the food for these hungry beasts. Hearing the demonic cultivator's words, despair appeared on the faces of the cultivators present. Clearly, they had already realized that the situation was hopeless. The only thing they could do now was to struggle for a while longer. Is that so? However, at this moment, a playful voice suddenly sounded in everyone's ears. Who? The expressions of the demonic cultivator and the level 3 demon beasts all changed. They suddenly turned to look at a spot in the air. There, a middle-aged man in a brown robe with an indifferent expression was quietly floating in the air. There were 2 people standing beside him. One of them was tall and held a spear in his hand. He was one of the 3 supreme elders of the Ganyang sect, Nangong Baijan. The second one was Hong Tianqi. The other wore a starlight crown on his head and seemed to be surrounded by countless stars. He was the Golden Core Supreme Elder of the Starlight Sect, Situ Zhan. Seeing these 3 people appear, the demonic cultivator and the level 3 demon beasts panicked, and endless fear suddenly overwhelmed them. Hong Tianqi, Nangong Baijan, Situ Zhan. Shouldn't you be in Ziyuan County? Situ Zhan, when did you join up with the supreme elders of the Ganyang sect? A disdainful smile appeared on Situ Zhan's face. We are here naturally to eliminate you little rats. We originally wanted to wait for the Wolf King and the Black Wind Snake King to appear before showing up. However, they seem to have sensed something in advance and actually only sent you little rats. However, it's not in vain that we traveled so far because someone we wanted to hunt down is also here. Isn't that so, Brother Gucheng? As soon as this supreme elder from the Starlight sect finished speaking, the starlight crown on his head suddenly lit up with endless dazzling starlight. With a swoosh, endless light aimed and shot towards a certain spot in the air, forcing a figure covered in shadow to appear in a sorry state. It was the Golden Core demonic cultivator known as the Shadow Demon, Zhao Gucheng. He stared fixedly at Situ Zhan, who was bathing in endless starlight. He could not help but grit his teeth and say word by word, Starlight Sect, Level 4 Dharma Treasure, Brilliance Crown. This treasure was his natural nemesis. With this treasure, the Shadow Demon, Zhao Gucheng, did not dare to fight Situ Zhan head-on. Not to mention, there were also Hong Tianqi and Nangong Baijan, the 2 Golden Core Realm cultivators. In an instant, the Shadow Demon, Zhao Gucheng, turned into a dark light and fled into the distance. As for his disciples, Now that he could not even protect himself, why would he care about their lives? Brother Situ, I'll leave Zhao Guqing to you. Hong Tianqi looked at Situ Zhan and said calmly, as for these rats, Elder Nangong and I will quickly deal with them. After that, we will catch up with you. If possible, we will end Zhao Guqing's life today. Okay. Situ Zhan nodded slightly. Soon, his figure turned into countless stars and disappeared in front of everyone. This change was too sudden. It was so sudden that everyone present had yet to come back to their senses. Especially the cultivators of the Sunset sect and the Shen immortal family. From their conversation just now, Hong Tianqi and the other two seemed to have arrived long ago. However, since they were already here, why didn't they attack? They watched as Tian Qin of the Sunset sect died and the ancestor of the Shen immortal family seriously injured. Why was that? Could it be that it was to lure out the Wolf King and the others? Most likely, it was the case. If they could lure out the Wolf King that was continuously harming the human race for many hundreds of years and severely injure the Black Wind Snake King at the same time, not to mention a mere Violet Palace realm cultivator, they would not even bat an eye if Sheng Pelong's personal disciple, Yun Dongshan, died in front of them. This was the difference in thinking between high-level cultivators and low-level cultivators. In their eyes, killing a Golden Core Realm demon beast was more important than anything. They were looking at the bigger picture and were ready to make necessary sacrifices. However, in the eyes of Jiang Chexuan and the other Foundation Establishment Realm and Qi Refinement Realm cultivators, it was very difficult for them to relate to Hong Tianqi and the other two. Jiang Qingxian could not accept what they did. For the sake of the so-called bigger picture, they watched people die when they clearly had the ability to save them. This was simply ridiculous. He did not know if he would do this for the sake of the bigger picture when he reached that position or reached a certain height. However, he knew that when one was not strong enough, no matter what thoughts and opinions one had, they were not important and would not mean anything. There was no possibility of the weak arguing with the strong. The only thing you can do is to accumulate strength and try to become stronger, stronger, and stronger. Chapter 82. 82. Dispute. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 82. Dispute. Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations. At this moment, be it the Violet Palace realm demonic cultivators or the level 3 demon beasts, they were all like rats that had seen a cat and began to scatter in different directions. Facing two Golden Core realm cultivators, it was impossible for them to be their match. They didn't even have the thought that perhaps with their strength combined, they might be able to fight the two of them for a few rounds. Even if there was a chance to win, with the selfish nature of demonic cultivators and demon beasts, would they really cooperate with each other to resist the two Golden Core cultivators? The answer was no. Therefore, in the next moment, Jiang Qingxian and the others saw that the arrogant demonic cultivators and many level 3 demon beasts were fleeing in panic like stray dogs. However, the two Golden Cores were determined to clean them up. Without hesitation, the spear in Nangong Baijian's hand pierced through the bodies of 3 level 3 demon beasts and completely tore them apart. Then, he raised his hand and swung it. With a buzz, an extremely terrifying huge spear shadow pierced through the heads of two demonic cultivators and exploded them in the air. Meanwhile, Hong Tianqi raised his hand and flicked his finger indifferently. There was a rumble. A mountain that was 1,000 feet tall suddenly pressed down on the remaining demonic cultivators and demon beasts. At this moment, time stopped. The demonic cultivators and demon beasts who were fleeing in panic were like little bugs sealed in amber. No matter how they struggled and tried, they could not move at all. Just like that. The purple-eyed demon wolf, the double-eyed demon snake, the three-eyed eagle, the three-tailed fire lizard, and the demonic cultivators were all crushed into powder by this mountain. They died on the spot. Only the blue-eyed demon ape seemed to have activated a level L, space-breaking talisman at the critical moment and disappeared into the void. At this moment, everyone who saw this scene was extremely shocked. As expected of a Golden Core realm cultivator, his strength was indeed terrifying. The high and mighty Violet Palace realm cultivators were only slightly larger ants in front of the two of them. Compared to Qi refinement and foundation establishment cultivators like them, the difference was not huge. Disciple Yun, go and chase after the remaining demon beasts immediately, including those demonic cultivators. Try your best not to let any of them off. Supreme Elder Nangong and I will chase after the shadow demon, Zhao Gucheng. At this moment, Hong Tianqi turned to look at Yun Dongshan, who was in the crowd, and instructed calmly. Yun Dongshan immediately bowed. Yes, Supra Elder Hong. When he looked up again, Hong Tianqi and Nangong Baijian were no longer in the air. He couldn't help but reveal a bitter smile. At this moment, he roughly understood what the two supreme elders were up to. They intentionally spread the news that they were going to Ziyuan County. But in fact, they joined forces with the supreme elder of the Starlight sect, Situ Zhan, to secretly enter Flat Land County. It was probably because they wanted to take the opportunity to give the Wolf King a fatal blow. Yun Dongsha was too familiar with such a tactic. If he guessed correctly, it should be Elder Mengshue's idea. He just did not know how Elder Mengxue would react to Hong Tianqi and the others doing nothing to save Tian Qi and causing Shen Yuanlong to be seriously injured. Hopefully, nothing bad would happen. However, it was undeniable that Hong Tianqi and Nangong Baijian's tactic was quite effective. If they could successfully kill Zhao Gucheng with Situ Zhan, it would be considered a huge victory. At the same time, Xia Feiyang and the Black Wind Snake King, who were stalling Jing Pelong, suddenly seemed to have received a message. The expressions on their faces changed at the same time. The two demons did not delay at all. After colliding fiercely with Jing Pelong's sword, they turned into streaks of light and instantly disappeared into the distant sky. Seeing this, Jing Pelong, who was standing quietly in midair, suddenly had a deep look in his eyes. He muttered, Hong Tianqi, Nangong Baijian, did you succeed? I hope that the two of you won't cause any trouble for me this time. You must protect that person from the Shen family. Otherwise, I really won't be able to face my Dao companion. As he muttered to himself, Zheng Pelong's figure had already disappeared on the spot. Half a month later, Yun Dongshan and Shen Yuanlong received the news. It was said that the shadow demon, Zhao Gucheng, had his physical body destroyed by Situ Zhan, Hong Tianqi, and Nangong Baijian, leaving behind a golden core before managing to escape. This was equivalent to completely cutting off the other party's path to the Dao. Even if he wanted to recover in the future, it would be impossible without 100 or 200 years. Moreover, even if he recovered in the end, the cultivation and strength of Zhao Gucheng would be greatly reduced. He might die in the hands of another golden core demonic cultivator midway. After all, it was not strange for demonic cultivators to plunder each other. On the other hand, it was said that Shen Mengxue had a dispute with Hong Tianqi, who had returned to the Ganyang sect after the incident. This time, Shen Mengxue seemed to be really angry. She actually asked Hong Tianqi, the Golden Core Supreme Elder, to give her an explanation in front of everyone in the Ganyang sect. Only Shen Mengxue had the courage to do this. She had accumulated enough contributions for the Ganyang sect and her prestige was high enough. Otherwise, if it was someone else, they would definitely not be able to bear the consequences. After all, in the cultivation world, it was a huge taboo to offend one's superiors. Even if you're right, you're not because you have a low cultivation level. However, Shen Mengxue was obviously different. First of all, her contribution to the Ganyang sect was not inferior to the three Golden Core Supreme Elders. In addition, she had Jing Pelong behind her. Moreover, strictly speaking, Hong Tianqi was in the wrong to begin with. Therefore, although Hong Tianqi was unhappy with Shen Mengxue's attitude, he did not flare up. In the end, Hong Tianqi used a piece of Violet Palace jade as an apology to let this matter rest. What kind of an item was Violet Palace jade? It was a supreme treasure that could nurture a Violet Palace realm cultivator. It was impossible for Hong Tianqi, who was usually domineering, to not hold a grudge. Chapter 83. 83, End of the Demon Beast Riot. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 83. End of the Demon Beast Riot. Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations. Shen Mengxue clearly knew this as well. Therefore, after she obtained the Violet Palace jade from Hong Tianqi, she immediately instructed the Shen family to use it as soon as possible. At this moment, in a temporary cave abode, Shen Yuanlong placed the Violet Palace jade he had obtained from Shen Mengxue in front of Jiang Qingxian, Shen Ruyan, and Shen Daoming. It could be seen that Shen Yuanlong's aura was clearly much weaker than before. Even his head had a lot of white hair. He said, Daoming, Ruyan, and Qingxian, according to your contributions this time, the three of you all have a chance to fight for this Violet Palace jade. As for who should get it, discuss it yourselves. I won't say too much. Jiang Qingxian smiled and said, Ancestor, I'm still quite a distance away from breaking through to the Violet Palace realm. Even if you give me this jade, I won't need it for the time being, so I won't fight for it. In fact, Jiang Qingxian had already obtained the opportunity to advance to the Violet Palace realm from the system. The moment he completed the 100 demon slayings mission, the system rewarded him with a breakthrough bead. As the name suggested, this breakthrough bead was used by cultivators to break through. Not only could it allow one to successfully break through, but there would not be any hidden dangers during this process. There was even a chance for people to comprehend extraordinary abilities during the breakthrough. Therefore, the Violet Palace jade was really useless to Jiang Qingxian. Shen Ruyan also shook her head. I don't need the Violet Palace jade either. I'll leave it to brother. Hearing this, Shen Daoming hesitated. He looked at Shen Ruyan and said, Ruyan, your cultivation has already reached the 9th level of the Foundation Establishment realm. If you want to break through to the Violet Palace realm, this jade might be more suitable for you. As for me, I really don't need it. Before Shen Daoming could finish, Shen Ruyan shook her head again. If I really want to break through to the Violet Palace realm, I will use my own method. Therefore, brother, you don't have to decline anymore. Take it. As she spoke, she had already pushed the jade to Shen Daoming. Shen Daoming wanted to say more, but Shen Ruyan interrupted him. Brother, if I want to break through to the Violet Palace realm, I'm 80% confident even without any external items. On the other hand, if you don't use this Violet Palace jade, even if you have the Scarlet Flame Crystal and the Purple True Pill, how confident are you that you can break through to the Violet Palace realm? Shen Daoming was rendered speechless. However, Shen Yuanlong's eyes lit up. He looked at Shen Ruyan and asked excitedly, Ruyan, is what you said true? Shen Ruyan nodded. Good, good, good. Shen Yuanlong was so excited that he said good 3 times. In that case, if you and Daoming can both advance to the Violet Palace realm in the future, even if I'm no longer around, the Shen family will still be safe under your protection. Ancestor, don't say that. Shen Daoming wanted to cheer him up. However, Shen Yuanlong smiled and shook his head. It's fine. I know my own situation. In my current state, I can't live a few years at most. Previously, I was worried about what would happen to the Shen immortal family after I left. However, if you and Ruyan can successfully advance to the Violet Palace realm in the future, then even if I leave, I won't worry too much. Alright, at this point, Shen Yuanlong clearly did not want to continue this topic. He waved his hand and said, this matter ends here. I think the Demon Beast Riot is about to end. When the Demon Beast Riot is officially over, the Hong family might make a move. However, while I'm still around, I won't let them harm you. The only thing you need to do next is to increase your strength. Just as Shen Yuanlong had said, the Demon Beast Riot was officially declared over after it lasted for 2 more years. Perhaps it was because too many level 3 demon beasts had died at once, or perhaps it was because what happened to the shadow demon, Zhao Guchen, frightened them. In short, in the 2 years that followed, there was no large-scale beast attack from the secluded mountain on Flat Land County. However, it was said that the beast attack in other places was still very terrifying. Almost every once in a while, news that a certain place had been broken through by demon beasts would spread. The people were plunged into misery and suffering. In addition. Half a month after the demon beast riot officially ended, a piece of news that made everyone feel very uneasy suddenly spread throughout the Yun nation. After this demon beast riot, the time for each demon beast riot in the future went from once every 200 years to once every 100 years. This news was like a bolt from the blue, causing all the cultivators to panic. Previously, the demon beast riot that happened every 200 years had already made it difficult for the human race to recover. Now that the time was shortened by half, wouldn't the situation of the human race be even more difficult in the future? No one knew what was going on with the higher-ups of the human race. Why did they do nothing about such a ridiculous request? At this moment, in the Shen immortal family's base, splendid Jade Mountain, the current ancestor of the Shen immortal family, Shen Yuanlong, looked at the elders of the Shen family and slowly said, "The interval of the demon beast riot outbreak is not something you and I can decide. No matter how much you complain, it's meaningless. The only thing we can do is to use the time we have to increase our cultivation and strength as much as possible. Next, let's talk about the distribution of rewards of this demon beast riot." As he spoke, Shen Yuanlong had already sent a contribution list to every Shen family elder present. The distribution of rewards after this battle was calculated by the Ganyang sect. After they confirmed the items they wanted to exchange for, the Ganyang sect would send someone to deliver the items at this moment. Jiang Qingxian and Shen Rian looked at the contribution list in their hands and realized that the amount of contributions they had made in the demon beast riot was really huge. Other than those people at the Violet Palace realm, they contributed the most among all the Foundation Establishment realm cultivators. Their contribution even exceeded a few cultivators who had just advanced to the Violet Palace realm. Just the number of demon beasts they killed was dozens or hundreds of times that of other cultivators. Chapter 84. 84. Someone sent by the Hong family. 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 84. Someone sent by the Hong family. 1. Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations. At this moment, Jiang Qingxian and Shen Rian looked at the rows of treasures on the exchange list. The first thing they noticed was the 5-element spiritual crystals that could help Foundation Establishment cultivators break through to the Violet Palace realm. There were a total of 3 crystals. They were the Wood-element Azure Dragonwood Crystal, the Earth-element Earth Spirit Crystal, and the Metal-element White Emperor Gold Crystal. Next was the Purple True Pill that could protect a cultivator's meridians and soul. However, the contribution points needed to exchange for each of these treasures were simply astronomical. To Jiang Qingxian and Shen Rian, it was not a problem to exchange for it. They didn't want to exchange for it because it was not of much use to them. However, Shen Rian still spent a large sum of contribution points to exchange for a Purple True Pill. Needless to say, Shen Rian did not exchange this Purple True Pill for herself, but for the family. Coupled with the Crimson Flame Crystal from the mine, it might be able to help the Shen Immortal family gain another Violet Palace realm cultivator. This was also a form of repayment to her family that had nurtured and raised her. Next, Shen Rian used all her contribution points to exchange for a lightning stone. This lightning stone was a rather precious lightning-element or among level 3 precious materials. It could be used to refine level 3 Dharma treasures or be fused into the Dharma treasure embryo to increase the power and quality of the Dharma treasure embryo. Without a doubt, Shen Rian exchanged for this stone for her Thunderbolt Lightning Fire Sword. After Shen Rian finished exchanging for the treasures she needed, Jiang Qingxian had also finished choosing the items he needed. A 5 elements true technique for Violet Palace Realm Cultivator and a high-grade level 2 defensive Dharma artifact. It was called the Sea Ring Bell. It was made of brass heavenly jade, water condensation true jade, and void golden crystal. Not only did it have extremely strong defensive functions, but it also had the power to reflect some attacks. Among all the level 2 high-grade defensive Dharma artifacts, it could be considered top-grade. Previously, in order to block the attack of the stealthy bat, his purple, gold spirit shield was completely destroyed, and the green wood heavenly shield was also severely damaged. Although he had already repaired it, a mid-grade level 2 defensive Dharma artifact was no longer enough. Now that he had exchanged for this Sea Ring Bell, Jiang Qingshuan's attack and defense could be considered perfect for his realm. After everyone had chosen the treasures they wanted, Shen Yuanlong did not continue to keep everyone here. He immediately announced that the meeting was over. A few days later, the treasures that Jiang Qingxian and the others exchanged for were sent to them. What followed that was that many people chose to enter seclusion to cultivate. Among them were the family head, Shen Daoming, Jiang Qingxian, and Shen Ruyan. Shen Daoming wanted to adjust his state and prepare to attempt to break through to the Violet Palace realm. Shen Ruyan was in a hurry to fuse the lightning stone into her level 3 Dharma treasure embryo. As for Jiang Qingxian, he wanted to try to break through to the late-stage foundation establishment realm and refine the level 2 high-grade defensive Dharma artifact, the Sea Ring Bell. He returned to the cultivation room in his cave abode. Jiang Qingxian immediately took out a pill from his body. It was the profound essence pill used to break through to the late-stage of the foundation establishment realm. He had exchanged it from the treasure vault of the Shen immortal family. In the past 2 years, Jiang Qingxian had already perfected his 6th level foundation establishment realm cultivation through constant battles with demon beasts. At this moment, he was only one step away from breaking through to the late-stage foundation establishment realm. When Jiang Qingxian consumed the profound essence pill in his hand, the true essence in his body became abnormally active. He was not in a hurry. He calmly began to circulate the 5 elements true technique over and over again. Once, twice, 10 times, 20 times, 30 times. When he circulated the 5 elements true technique for the 30th time, a light cracking sound suddenly came from his body. It sounded as if some obstacle had been broken. A wave of true essence that was nearly 40% thicker than before suddenly began to swim in his body. A smile appeared on Jiang Qingshuan's face. 7th level of the foundation establishment realm, success. At this moment, he had a feeling that if he faced the attack of the stealthy bat again, he would definitely not be in such a sorry state. Half a year later, Jiang Qingxian had already completely consolidated his 7th level foundation establishment realm. Therefore, he took out the Sea Ring Bell and began to refine it. At the same time, an elder at the Violet Palace realm from the Hong family suddenly descended on the Shen immortal family. This person's name was Hong Qingfei, and he was the ancestor of Hong Wentao's family line. When he brought people to the Shen immortal family, it immediately alarmed everyone. Ancestor Shen Yuanlong even personally appeared and greeted Hong Qingfei. "Fellow Taoist Hong, you've come from afar. Is there anything you need?" Hong Qingfei smiled at Shen Yuanlong and said, "Brother Yuanlong, since you know that I came from afar, why didn't you invite me in?" Hearing his words, a trace of anger immediately appeared in the eyes of some cultivators of the Shen immortal family around Shen Yuanlong. Shen Yuanlong was not angry. When he heard this, he immediately smiled and made an inviting gesture to Hong Qingfei and the others. "My apologies. Fellow Taoist Hong, please." As he spoke, he personally led Hong Qingfei and the others to the guest hall. After the disciples of the Shen immortal family brought them spiritual tea, Shen Yuanlong looked at Hong Qingfei and said, "Fellow Taoist Hong, can you tell me what brought you here?" Hong Qingfei picked up the spiritual tea in front of him and took a sip. Then, he looked at Shen Yuanlong with a faint smile and said, "Brother Yuanlong, you're such a smart person. Don't tell me you really don't know my motive for coming to the Shin immortal family. Hearing this, the smile on Shin Yuanlong's face finally faded. He looked at Hong Qingfei and slowly shook his head. I'm sorry, fellow Daoist Hong. I really don't know why you're here. Fine. Hong Qingfei shrugged helplessly and put down the teacup in his hand. He looked at Shin Yuanlong and slowly spat out 3 words. Violet Palace Jade. What? Upon hearing Hong Qingfei's words, the expressions of Shin Yuanlong and the Shin family members present changed drastically. Shin Yuanlong narrowed his eyes and looked at Hong Qingfei coldly. Fellow Daoist Hong, I don't quite understand what you mean. Why? Could it be that you juniors of the Hong family want to take back what ancestor Hong gave to us? Chapter 85. 85. Someone sent by the Hong family. 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 85. Someone sent by the Hong family. 2. Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations. Hearing Shin Yuanlong's words, the smile on Hong Qingfei's face did not fade. Brother Yuanlong, what are you talking about? As juniors, how can we take back what our ancestor gave to you? So what do you want? Shin Yuanlong was still vigilant. Vaguely, he had already grasped Hong Qingfei's true motive for coming. Hong Qingfei smiled and said, we just want to buy back the Violet Palace Jade that our ancestor gave you back then. Brother Yuanlong, please don't refuse for the sake of the Hong family. What did he mean by for the sake of the Hong family? This was clearly a blatant threat. Shen Baifei, Shen Rushuang, and the other elders looked like they were on the verge of flaring up. Only Shin Yuanlong could barely maintain his calm. He asked calmly, then what price are you willing to pay to buy the Violet Palace Jade back? Ancestor, Shen Baifei, Shen Rushuang, and the others turned to look at him. They wanted to say something, but Shin Yuanlong waved his hand and stopped them. Hong Qingfei smiled and said, don't worry, we won't let you suffer a loss. After a pause, Hong Qingfei continued, the Hong family is willing to buy the Violet Palace Jade in your hand for 120,000 spirit stones. What do you think, Brother Yuanlong? 120,000 spirit stones. Hearing Hong Qingfei's offer, even Shin Yuanlong could not restrain his anger, let alone Shen Baifei, Shen Rushuang, and the others. Everyone knew that treasures like the Violet Palace Jade could help cultivators break through to the Violet Palace realm and prevent them from dying. The price was definitely astronomical. 120,000 spirit stones was almost the floor price. Generally speaking, the price of a Violet Palace Jade in the market or at major auctions was usually between 150,000 to 200,000 spirit stones. It couldn't possibly be lower than 150,000 spirit stones. Hong Qingfei and the others were clearly not sincere at all. Did they really think that the Shin immortal family was easy to bully? At this moment, Shin Yuanlong's expression darkened. He looked at Hong Qingfei and said calmly, I'm sorry, fellow Daoist Hong. I can't agree to your request. Moreover, the Violet Palace Jade is also very useful to the Shin immortal family, so I can't part with it. Hearing Shin Yuanlong's answer, the smile on Hong Qingfei's face disappeared. He looked at Shin Yuanlong and said indifferently, is that so? Brother Yuanlong, are you sure you want to do this? Don't forget that you and your sister's lifespan is not long. You don't have much time left. Are you sure you want to fall out with the Hong family at this time? Boom. At this moment, Shin Yuanlong's aura suddenly erupted. The terrifying aura immediately made the faces of the Hong family cultivators turn pale. Shin Yuanlong bristled up as he glared at Hong Qingfei. His voice suddenly became extremely cold. Hong Qingfei, are you threatening me? Do you believe that I'll make you unable to return? These words made the expressions of Hong Qingfei and the others change. Hong Qingfei cursed in his heart. Is this old fart crazy? However, he had to admit that Shin Yuanlong, who was close to the end of his lifespan, was indeed someone he and the Hong family did not dare to provoke for the time being. Everyone knew that this kind of guy who was about to die was the craziest. Once he died in his hand, that would be a real loss. This was not something that 1 or 2 Violet Palace jade could make up for. It was better not to fight him head-on first. When he and his sister died, it would not be too late for the Hong family to settle today's score. Thinking of this, Hong Qingfei stopped provoking Shen Yuanlong and nodded meaningfully. It seems that I came at the wrong time today. In that case, I won't disturb you anymore. However, if you change your mind, you can contact me at any time. With that, Hong Qingfei and the others did not stay any longer. They turned around and left. Hong Wentao, who had just left the splendid Jade Mountain with Hong Qingfei, could not help but say, "Ancestor, isn't the Shen immortal family too tactless? They actually dare to reject the Hong family. Are we going to let this matter go? Or what? Are you going to teach them a lesson? Go ahead." Hong Qingfei turned to look at Hong Wentao and said angrily, "Do you really think that old fart won't dare to fall out with us even if we force him to a corner? Or do you think that under such circumstances, we can still use the Hong family to bluff him?" These words rendered Hong Wentao speechless. He immediately nodded and said, "Ancestor, you're right." "Humph," Hong Qingfei snorted coldly. He narrowed his eyes slightly and said, "Just wait. When that old fart and his sister are gone, I want to see how those juniors of the Shen immortal family can support a huge family." On the other side. After Hong Qingfei and the others left, Shen Yuanlong's aura collapsed and his face turned pale. This immediately shocked Shen Baifei, Shen Rushuang, and the others. Everyone hurriedly asked with concern, "Ancestor, are you all right?" Shen Yuanlong waved his hand. "I'm fine." After a pause, Shen Yuanlong continued, "Pass down the order. Sell all the medicinal shops and Dharma artifact shops of the Shen immortal family in the Ganyang sect. It's enough to leave only 1 or 2. Use the spirit stones we exchanged to buy the cultivation resources we need." Ancestor, hearing Shen Yuanlong's arrangement, the Shen family members present were all shocked. If they really sold all their shops in the Ganyang market, leaving only 1 or 2, then the Shen family would lose at least 30,000 to 50,000 spirit stones every year. This was definitely a serious loss. However, Shen Yuanlong seemed to have made up his mind and said in a low voice, "Why? Didn't you hear my order? Do I need to repeat myself?" Everyone was shocked and immediately said that they did not dare. Seeing this, Shen Yuanlong softened his tone and continued, "Hurry up. I'm afraid that if we're late, it'll be impossible for us to sell those shops at a normal price." Chapter 86. 86, Fire Meteor Sword Technique to Perfection. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 86. Fire Meteor Sword Technique to Perfection. Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations. How come? All the members of the Shen family were stunned. But soon, they seemed to understand something and their expressions changed slightly. "Ancestor, you're saying that the Hong family will?" "Yes." Shen Yuanlong nodded resignedly. "It would have been fine if I had just agreed to Hong Qingfei's request. Now that I rejected him in such a way, it's equivalent to offending the entire Hong family. With my understanding of the Hong family, they will definitely do something to ruin our Shen immortal family's business. Hurry up and go. If you're late, I don't think it'll be easy to sell those shops." Although they were indignant, everyone knew that their ancestor was right. They immediately agreed and turned around to head to the Ganyang market. Half a year later, Jiang Qingxian, who was in seclusion, had already successfully refined the level 2 high-grade Dharma artifact, the C ring bell. At this moment, he was not in a hurry to come out of seclusion. Instead, he took out the high-grade level 2 flying sword that Shen Yuanlong had given him that day, the Void Dragon sword, and began to comprehend the high-grade level 2 sword technique, the Fire Meteor Sword technique. According to what the system said that day, as long as he could cultivate the fire meteor sword technique to perfection, this sword technique could erupt with power comparable to a low-grade level 3 spell. This was a rather impressive power. However, it was also quite difficult to perfect this sword technique. For more than 3 months, Jiang Qingxian could not figure out the way to perfect this sword technique. Fortunately, at this moment, the system's voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Ding! Achievement mission has been issued. Host, please complete 100 comprehensions of high grade level 2 spells. Current progress. 10%. Hearing the system's notification, Jiang Qingxian was immediately pleasantly surprised. It had to be said that this mission came at the right time. He calmed himself down and began to comprehend the fire meteor sword technique. 3 months later, Jiang Qingxuan's mission progress reached 22%. Half a year later, his mission progress reached 50%. It was also from this moment on that Jiang Qingxuan's comprehension of the fire meteor sword technique began to increase. 2 months later, Jiang Qingxuan's mission progress reached 70%. Another 2 months later, Jiang Qingxuan's comprehension of the fire meteor sword technique reached 100%. It was also at this moment that he seemed to have been enlightened. The knowledge related to the fire meteor sword technique immediately appeared in his mind like a manual. At the end, the void dragon sword that he placed on his knees vibrated on its own. Crimson rings of fire began to gather around the sword. There was a clang. The void dragon sword suddenly turned into a stream of fire and shot into the sky. Then, stones that looked like meteors began to fall from the sky. They struck the back mountain of Jiang Qingxuan's cave abode. 1, 2, 3. Just 3 of the meteors caused the protective array of Jiang Qingxuan's cave abode to shake. By the time the 6th and 7th meteor fell, the protective array was already showing signs of breaking. It had to be known that the perfected fire meteor sword technique could bring a total of 99 fiery meteors. Moreover, every meteor was more powerful than the previous one. Now, just 7 meteors were enough to shatter the protective array in Jiang Qingxuan's cave abode. One could imagine how terrifying the power of the 99th meteors was. Jiang Qingxian could not help but feel delighted. He had finally comprehended the fire meteor sword technique to perfection. Ding! At this moment, the long-awaited system notification sounded again. Congratulations, host. You have completed 100 comprehensions of a level 2 high-grade spell. You have obtained comprehension +1. It was at this moment that Jiang Qingxian suddenly felt that his mind had become clearer than ever. His previous understanding of the fire meteor sword technique flashed through his mind again. Slowly, he closed his eyes. He began to break down this technique and then re-evaluate it and then comprehend it. Something is not right. Suddenly, Jiang Qingxian opened his eyes and shook his head. He seemed to be able to discover more potential of this fire meteor sword technique. Buzz, buzz, buzz. For some reason, the void dragon sword that had returned to his knees suddenly vibrated again. Moreover, this time, the body of the void dragon sword actually let out a faint wail. I got it. Jiang Qingxuan's eyes suddenly widened, and an excited expression appeared on his face. I can combine the 99 meteors into one and summon the 100th fire meteor. The 100th meteor will be merged from the 99 meteors, and it will be far more powerful than the 99 meteors. If this attack is unleashed, it's very likely to kill a newly advanced Violet Palace realm cultivator. Even cultivators at the 2nd level of the Violet Palace realm might be severely injured if they are not careful. Unfortunately, the power of this attack is too great. Ordinary high-grade level 2 flying swords are probably not enough to carry such power. After one strike, an ordinary high-grade level 2 flying sword might be scrapped. That's at least 7,000 to 8,000 spirit stones. Furthermore, after this attack, the true essence in my body will definitely be completely exhausted and I will no longer have the strength to fight for the second round. However, no matter what, this 100th fire meteor is definitely my strongest trump card so far. There is no other. Although my current cultivation level is only at the 7th level of the Foundation Establishment realm, it's about time to make some preparations for the level 3 Dharma treasure embryo. Yes, after I come out of seclusion, I can start preparing for this. In addition, I need a body-tempering cultivation technique that is suitable for me. I desperately need to strengthen my physical foundation. After thinking about what he had to do next, Jiang Qingxian continued to calm down and began to cultivate. Just like that. In the blink of an eye, more than a year passed. When Jiang Qingxian used the medicinal pill to accumulate and polish the true essence of the 7th level of the Foundation Establishment realm, he finally stopped cultivating and stood up to walk out of his cultivation room. Chapter 87. 87, Revealing the Secret. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 87. Revealing the Secret. Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations. When he came out, Jiang Qingxian realized that Shenrian had yet to come out of seclusion. However, from the fluctuations emitted from the quiet room she was in, she should be at a critical moment. Therefore, Jiang Qingxian didn't go anywhere else. Instead, he waited outside Shenrian's cultivation room and began to guard her. Half a year later, Jiang Qingxian, who was outside the cultivation room, suddenly turned to look at the door. At the same time, there was a click. The door of Shenrian's cultivation room was slowly opened. Jiang Qingxian immediately noticed that the aura on Shenrian's body suddenly became a little ethereal. Vaguely, it gave off an indescribable pressure on people. However, he could clearly sense that at this moment, her cultivation had yet to advance to the Violet Palace realm. Husband, seeing that Jiang Qingxian was guarding her outside, a smile bloomed on Shenrian's beautiful face. Thank you for guarding me. Jiang Qingxian immediately smiled and shook his head. Wife, what are you saying? This is nothing. Besides, there's no need to be so polite between us. Yes. Shenrian nodded with a smile. It was obvious that she was in a good mood. By the way, husband, how's your harvest? Not bad. Jiang Qingxian didn't hide it from Shenrian. Instead, he told her everything he had gained from his seclusion period. When Shenrian heard that, her beautiful eyes lit up. She looked at Jiang Qingxian and couldn't help but praise, I really didn't expect you to gain so much during this period of seclusion. Right now, you're only at the 7th level, but you already have the strength to threaten a Violet Palace realm cultivator. In the future, when your cultivation level increases, you'll definitely be even more extraordinary. Don't just talk about me. How is your harvest? Jiang Qingxian teased with a smile. Just now, I almost thought that you had already broken through to the Violet Palace realm. Shenrian smiled and shook her head. Although I haven't broken through to the Violet Palace realm, I've already successfully fused the lightning stone into the Thunderbolt lightning fire sword and completely activated its quality as a level 3 Dharma treasure. With it, I'm really not afraid of ordinary Violet Palace realm cultivators. In fact, during the Demon Beast riot, she had successfully killed the heavily injured level 3 Demon Beast, the Stealthy Bat, with the Thunderbolt lightning fire sword, which was only a level 3 Dharma treasure embryo. Now that her Thunderbolt lightning fire sword had completely reached the power of a level 3 Dharma treasure, her true combat strength should be more than twice as strong as before. It was just unknown how far she was from advancing to the Violet Palace realm. Shenrian didn't hide it from Jiang Qingxian. Actually, if I want to break through to the Violet Palace realm now, I can do it at any time. However, I don't want to break through to the Violet Palace realm so rashly. Before that, I still need something. Something. Jiang Qingxian was stunned. Yes. Shenrian nodded. It's the lightning pool under the jurisdiction of the North Cloud sect. The lightning pool under the jurisdiction of the North Cloud sect. That's right. Only by advancing to the Violet Palace realm there can one truly perfectly forge the foundation of my lightning body. Back then, because of my single lightning spiritual root, I could not advance further. In the end, I chose to go through tribulation and recultivate. Before I enter the tribulation, I prepared the lightning pool for myself in the next life to open up my potential. From then on, she finally revealed a portion of her secrets to Jiang Qingxian. Although she was still a disciple of the Shen immortal family under the Ganyang sect of the Yun nation, after her memories of her previous life were awakened, Jiang Qingxian knew that many things were completely different now. This also explained why the current Shenrian was so different from the Shenrian he knew at the beginning. This was not only a change in personality, but also knowledge, experience, bearing, and all the qualities one obtained from hundreds of years of cultivation. It was definitely not something a mere disciple of the Violet Palace realm family could possess. In short, although the current Shenrian still looked the same, in some aspects, she was no longer the previous Shenrian. This sounded a little tongue-twisting, but it was the fact. She was both her and not her. In that case, could it be that the reason why you were born in the cultivation world of the Yun nation back then was related to the arrangements in your previous life? Jiang Qingxian suddenly thought of this question and immediately asked. I think so. Shenrian nodded slightly. She continued, in fact, with my cultivation at that time, I couldn't control the location at which I wanted to be reborn. I could only predict a rough range of my rebirth, but I couldn't accurately specify where I would be born. Moreover, there were many uncertain factors. Even now, some of my memories are still sealed. For example, among the opportunities one had prepared for this life in my previous life, so far, I only remembered the existence of the lightning pool. Because it concerns the foundation of my cultivation, it was unsealed the moment my memory recovered. At this point, she suddenly looked at Jiang Qingxian and asked, Husband, do you know why I told you that you and I are actually the same kind of people? Yes, why? He was really curious about Shenrian's question. Simple. Shenrian smiled. Because you and I are both people who have a chance of becoming immortals in the future. I can sense the balanced aura of the 5 elements from you. This is a manifest that only people with true 5-element spiritual roots can have. It's also the best aptitude to become an immortal. It's different from those people who have imbalanced 5 elements, which is called the false 5-element spiritual roots. Because of balance, the 5 elements can coexist harmoniously and establish a foundation for the great Tao. As for me, although I only have a single lightning spiritual root now, I have a backup plan that I had long prepared in my previous life. Moreover, I have yet to break through to the Violet Palace realm, so I still have a chance to reconstruct my spiritual roots. As long as I go to the lightning pool and use it to absorb the other elements, I can transform my lightning spiritual root into lightning spiritual root with balanced 5 elements. Shenrian's words were almost identical to the information he had obtained from the system that day. It had to be known that in the current 9 essences cultivation world, not many people knew about the true 5-element spiritual root. Even if someone knew the existence of it, they would not be able to identify it, let alone nurture it. All of this stemmed from the lack of the corresponding cultivation technique. However, looking at Shenrian now, she seemed to be very confident about everything she said. This also made Jiang Qingxian deeply realize a problem. His Tao companion's identity in her previous life probably far exceeded his imagination. As if she could tell what her Tao companion was thinking, she couldn't help but look at Jiang Qingxian and smile. Husband, there are some things that I will naturally tell you when the time comes. I'm not telling you now because I don't want to affect your mental state. I hope you can understand this. Chapter 88. 88, New Violet Palace Realm Immortal Family, the Lin Family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 88. New Violet Palace Realm Immortal Family, the Lin Family. Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi translations then, she told Jiang Chexuan something else. For example, why those who had the heavenly spiritual roots and the mutant spiritual roots had no advantage after reaching the golden core realm. On the contrary, most of the cultivators who could reach the nascent soul realm or even the soul formation realm were not born with heavenly spiritual roots. Instead, they had 2 or 3 spiritual roots. This was mainly because the nascent soul realm and the soul formation realm had higher requirements for Dharma power. When cultivators with 2 spiritual roots, 3 spiritual roots, and even 4 spiritual roots reached that stage, they could form a cycle of generation of 5 elements. It was endless and inexhaustible. However, at that stage, those with heavenly spiritual roots or mutant spiritual roots would not have the advantage in this aspect. Their body could only accommodate the Dharma power of 1 element. Naturally, cultivating would be less effective for them. Unless one's comprehension ability and talent were astonishing and they could break the restrictions of having only 1 element Dharma power. Only then would they have a chance of reaching the nascent soul or even the soul formation realm. This was something Jiang Chengxian didn't know, as everyone knew, in the current cultivation world of the Yun nation, only those with heavenly and mutant spiritual roots would be known as peerless talents and have a chance of reaching the Violet Palace realm and the Golden Core realm. Perhaps this was also related to the fact that no nascent soul realm cultivator had ever appeared in the cultivation world of the Yun nation. After all, before reaching that level, it was impossible to know the knowledge of that level. The 2 of them chatted for a long time. When they walked out of the cave abode and headed for the main peak of the splendid Jade Mountain, they immediately sensed that the entire Shen immortal family was shrouded in a heavy atmosphere. Did something happen again? The 2 of them could not help but frown. When the couple descended on the main peak of the splendid Jade Mountain, they immediately saw that Shen Baifei, Shen Rushuang, Shen Daoyuan, Xiong Wandao, and the other elders of the Shen immortal family had already gathered here. There was obvious worry and a hint of anger on their faces. What is going on? Jiang Chengxian and Shen Ruyan immediately went forward to ask. Soon, they learned the situation from everyone. It turned out that not long ago, the newly promoted Violet Palace realm immortal family, the Lin family, wanted to choose a place to settle down in Flat Land County. Originally, the area they wanted to choose the most was naturally the level 3 spiritual vein where the Flowing Cloud sect was located. However, when the demon beast riot broke out, the location of the Flowing Cloud sect was destroyed along with the level 3 spiritual vein. They had no choice but to choose a new place to settle down. After all, the current Flat Land County was the most suitable place for new Violet Palace realm immortal families like them. Normally, the arrival of a newly promoted Violet Palace realm immortal family would be heavily objected to by the other Violet Palace realm families or sects that had already been established there. After all, everyone wanted to grab as many resources as they could. It would be strange if they were willing to give out resources. After the Demon Beast riot, the current Flat Land County had already become the weakest place among the many places under the Ganyang sect. Most importantly, the Lin family, which had just advanced to the Violet Palace realm, was an affiliate family of the Hong family. They wanted to come to Flat Land County to settle down. Even the strongest immortal family in Flat Land County, the Zhang family, did not raise any objections. Originally, the Shen immortal family had no problem with that. However, the thing was that the place the Lin family chose to settle down was where the Crimson Gold Mine was located. This was unacceptable to the Shen immortal family. One had to know that the Crimson Gold Mine was the most important industry of the Shen immortal family now. Not to mention the economic value of the Crimson Gold Mine, just the Scarlet Flame Crystal that was about to be nurtured was definitely not something the Shen immortal family would be willing to give away. Is it because the Lin family discovered the Crimson Gold Mine that they insisted on choosing that area as their family's base? At this moment, Jiang Chengxian could not help but ask. Hearing his words, Shen Baifei, who was the most senior, immediately shook his head. I don't think so. I think the area they chose happened to be where the Crimson Gold Mine is located. So, this is purely a coincidence? Shen Ruyan asked with a frown. Shen Rushuang looked worried. She nodded and then shook her head. In the beginning, perhaps, but after we've had many disputes, the Lin family must have had some suspicions when they saw that our Shen family is unwilling to back down. Most importantly, our ancestor's condition is getting worse and worse. He's currently in seclusion to recuperate. We don't dare to disturb him easily. Xiong Wandao also spoke in a low voice. That's right. Moreover, the family head has yet to come out of seclusion. We don't know how to deal with this matter. Shen Daoyuan nodded in agreement. Hearing this, Jiang Qingxian and Shen Ruyan couldn't help but look at each other. The two of them understood that this matter was indeed a little troublesome. Unless their ancestor, Shen Yuanlong, personally appeared, it was probably impossible to get the Lin family to change the location of their base. With their ancestor's current condition, once he was forced to come out of seclusion at this time, he would probably not have much time left. Looks like the Lin family is certain that our Shen family won't dare to fall out with them. Jiang Qingshuan's voice suddenly turned cold. He and Shen Ruyan looked at each other again before he said to everyone, the sooner this matter is resolved, the better. Otherwise, once the news of the Crimson Gold Mine is leaked, not to mention the Lin family, even the other Violet Palace realm immortal families or sects nearby will probably be tempted to snatch. Jiang Qingxian paused for a moment before continuing, Ruyan and I will handle this matter from now on. You're going. Hearing Jiang Qingshuan's words, everyone present was shocked. Isn't this too risky? After all, that Lin family's ancestor is a new Violet Palace realm cultivator. Shen Rushuang said worriedly. However, Jiang Qingxian and Shen Ruyan shook their heads. Jiang Qingxian said with a smile, Cousin Rushuang, have you forgotten that Ruyan killed a level 3 demon beast that day? The Lin family's ancestor is only a newly advanced Violet Palace realm cultivator. Although his strength is slightly stronger than the level 3 demon beast, the stealthy bat, the difference won't be much. At the very least, it will not be a problem for us to escape from him. Most importantly, our Shen family has to show a strong attitude and confidence in this matter. Otherwise, if this continues, I'm afraid things will be even more difficult. Chapter 89. 89, try calling it, see if it will respond to you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 89. Try calling it, see if it will respond to you. Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations. Hearing this, Shen Baifei immediately nodded in agreement. Qingxian is right. In this matter, our Shen family indeed has to show enough attitude. Otherwise, there would be other families challenging us tomorrow. At this point, Shen Baifei looked at Jiang Qingxian and Shen Ruyan and said sincerely, Qingxian, Ruyan, now that ancestor is in seclusion to recuperate and the family head is in seclusion to break through to the Violet Palace realm, in the entire Shen immortal family, only you two are qualified to deal with this matter. Therefore, I will not try to persuade you not to go. However, I want to say that you have to prioritize your own safety. If you have to, give up the Crimson Gold Mine to ensure your own safety. Please. In the end, Shen Baifei bowed solemnly to Jiang Qingxian and Shen Ruyan. Seeing this, the others present also bowed to the two of them. Jiang Qingxian and Shen Ruyan looked at each other and nodded at everyone present. Don't worry, we know. With that, the couple did not delay any longer. They flew away from the splendid Jade Mountain and towards the location of the Crimson Gold Mine. At the Crimson Gold Mine, Su Qianhe, who was inside the array, looked at the Lin family members who came from all directions and began to build various houses and buildings as if no one was around. His face darkened. He couldn't help but look at a horse-faced middle-aged man and say coldly, Family head Lin, I've already told you before that this is my Shen family's territory. Are you really going to challenge my Shen immortal family by doing this around our territory? When the horse-faced middle-aged man called Family head Lin heard this, he turned to look at Su Qianhe and sneered. You said that this is the territory of the Shen immortal family. Is there any proof? Why don't you call it and see if it will respond to you? You. Su Qianhe immediately looked angry. The Lin family had continued, moreover, it's not like our Lin family hasn't told your Shen family about this before. It was your Shen family who insisted on this place and refused to sell it to us. Is this our Lin family's fault? At this point, the expression of Lin Wenyuan, the current head of the Lin immortal family, also turned cold. He looked at Su Qianhe and said coldly, to tell you the truth, our Lin immortal family wants this place. This is our ancestors' idea. If you have any complaints, you can talk to him personally. Is that so? Unexpectedly, just as he finished speaking, an indifferent voice suddenly sounded from the side. Lin Wenyuan was shocked and quickly turned around. At some point, two people had already appeared beside him. They were Jiang Qingxian and Shen Ruyan, who had rushed over from the Shen immortal family. And you are? Lin Wenyuan's pupils constricted. As an 8th-level Foundation Establishment Realm cultivator, he actually did not notice the appearance of Jiang Qingxian and Shen Ruyan at all. This didn't feel right to him. If not for the fact that he knew that Shen Yuanlong was the only Violet Palace Realm cultivator in the Shen immortal family, he would have almost suspected that the two people who suddenly appeared in front of him were both in the Violet Palace realm. Elder Jiang, Elder Ruyan. Su Qianhe looked pleasantly surprised. He did not expect that who rushed over to his aid was this couple. Outsiders might not know the strength of the couple, but as one of the core elders of the Shen immortal family, Su Qianhe knew it very well. With them around, at least they could ensure that the existence of the Crimson Gold Mine would not be leaked. Are you from the Shen family? Lin Wenyuan finally reacted. A hint of seriousness appeared in his eyes. He didn't know Jiang Qingxian and Shen Ruyan at all. The people from the Shen immortal family he interacted with previously were Su Qianhe, Shen Baifei, and the others. This was the first time he had seen Jiang Qingxian and Shen Ruyan. However, at first glance, he felt a huge threat from the two of them. Fortunately, at this moment, the Lin Family Foundation Establishment Realm elders in the other areas sensed the arrival of unfamiliar auras and quickly rushed over. There were a total of 4 people with cultivation levels between the 3rd and 7th level of the Foundation Establishment Realm. In addition to Lin Wenyuan, who was originally here, the number of Foundation Establishment Realm elders on the Lin family's side reached 5. Almost subconsciously, they surrounded Jiang Qingxian and Shen Ruyan. A tall and thin man said, "This is the base of the Lin immortal family. Did you get permission to enter this area?" The base of the Lin immortal family. Hearing this tall and thin man's words, Jiang Qingxian was so angry that he laughed. He turned to look at the tall and thin man and couldn't help but sneer. You said that this is the Lin immortal family's base. Is there any proof? Try calling it and see if it will respond to you. Puff, Shen Ruyan couldn't help but chuckle. This made the tall and thin man Lin Wenyuan's expressions turn fierce. Especially Lin Wenyuan. Does the Shen immortal family really want to be enemies with the Lin immortal family? A cold look gradually appeared in Lin Wenyuan's eyes. Immediately, the other 4 Foundation Establishment Realm elders immediately locked their auras on Jiang Qingxian and Shen Ruyan. As long as Lin Wenyuan, the family head, gave the order, or if Jiang Qingxian, Shen Ruyan, and the others made any moves, the Lin family's Foundation Establishment Realm elders would attack without hesitation. Seeing this, Jiang Qingxuan's eyes slowly turned cold. He looked at Lin Wenyuan and the Lin family elders and said calmly, "It's not that the Shen immortal family wants to be enemies with the Lin immortal family, but the Lin immortal family has gone too far. The Shen immortal family has already told you many times that this is our territory and has clearly rejected your request to build a base here. However, the Lin immortal family still insists on building a base here. Are you taking the initiative to be our enemy, or are you not taking the Shen immortal family seriously at all?" At this point, Jiang Qingshuan's voice was already filled with killing intent. He said coldly, "I'll tell you one last time. Please leave the Shen immortal family's territory immediately. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite." Chapter 90. 1 against 5, the Lin family is shocked. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 90. 1 against 5, the Lin family is shocked. Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations, how dare you? Hearing Jiang Qingshuan's words, all the Lin family elders, including Lin Wenyuan, were furious. They really didn't expect this attitude from the elder of the Shen family who appeared out of nowhere. Did they really think that the Lin family would not dare to attack the Shen family? Killing intent suddenly flashed across Lin Wenyuan's eyes. Now that the two sides had reached this point, there was no room for negotiation. The Lin family would never give up on this place that they had carefully chosen. Moreover, they had reason to suspect that the Shen family valued this place so much because there were some secrets inside. The reason why they held back from attacking the Shen family previously was partly because they were afraid of Shen Yuanlong, and partly because they had not found a suitable reason to attack. Now the Shen family's elder challenged them blatantly. The Lin family had a justifiable reason to attack. When the Lin family dealt with Jiang Qingshuan and the others and occupied this area, they would set up a huge array. At that time, even if Shen Yuanlong really rushed over, it would be too late. Perhaps their ancestor could even use the power of the array to completely take that old fart down. At that time, no one else in the Shen family could pose a threat to them. Perhaps the Lin family would even be handsomely rewarded by the Hong family for this matter. However, it was a pity that Lin Wenyuan and the Lin family elders did not understand what kind of two people they were facing. The moment they chose to attack, they immediately felt that something was wrong. A cool breeze suddenly appeared and swirled around Lin Wenyuan and the other Lin family elders. As soon as the tall and thin man took out a circular Dharma artifact, he immediately felt a chill on his neck. Looking down, he was shocked to discover that a headless corpse was quickly falling. Around him, Lin Wenyuan and the other Lin family elders exclaimed, "Elder Wenhai!" This voice entered Lin Wenhai's ears. Then, he was dead. It was only at this moment that Lin Wenyuan and the other elders of the Lin family realized in shock that Jiang Qingxian, who was originally standing opposite them, had already arrived behind Lin Wenhai, the tall and thin man at some point. "You actually killed Elder Wenhai." A gray-haired Lin family elder was furious. It had to be known that Lin Wenhai was the youngest foundation establishment cultivator in the Lin family. His cultivation level had reached the 4th level of the foundation establishment realm, and he had a high chance of becoming a late-stage foundation establishment realm cultivator in the future. But now, at this moment, the old man was extremely furious. An abnormally cold killing intent appeared in his eyes as he shouted, "Kid, don't think about returning alive today." As soon as he finished speaking, an ice bead with a cold aura suddenly hit Jiang Qingxian. Crack, crack, where the ice bead passed, the surrounding air let out a series of frosting sounds. From this, it could be seen how terrifying the cold air emitted by this ice bead artifact was. At the same time, Lin Wenyuan and the remaining two Lin family elders were not idle either. Lin Wenyuan immediately took out a huge seal engraved with mountains and rivers. With a might that seemed to weigh 1,000 pounds, it pressed down on Jiang Qingxian. The other two. One of them took out an iron lock that was suffused with raging flames, while the other took out a long saber that was suffused with golden light. Clearly, at this moment, they were bent on killing Jiang Qingxian and they didn't restrain their strength at all. Facing the combined attack of 4 foundation establishment cultivators, Jiang Qingxian couldn't afford to be careless. He first blocked the ice bead attack with the divine light of the Arctic that had the same attribute. Then, he used the mid-grade defensive Dharma artifact, the Greenwood Heavenly Light Shield, to block the joint attack of the other two Lin family elders. In the end, he took out his other high-grade level 2 defensive Dharma artifact, the C-Ring Bell, to block Lin Wenyuan's mountain and river seal. This series of countermeasures shocked the Lin family elders. They did not expect Jiang Qingxian to have 2 defensive Dharma artifacts. Moreover, one of them had reached high-grade level 2. This was something that even Lin Wenyuan, the head of the Lin family, did not have. For a moment, greed rose in the hearts of the Lin family elders, including Lin Wenyuan. However, greed was quickly replaced by fear. After Jiang Qingxian blocked the combined attack of the 4 of them with the divine light of the Arctic and 2 defensive Dharma artifacts, a boundless sea of flames suddenly rose in the surrounding void. Moreover, these flames were all extremely explosive. Almost as soon as the flames got within a meter of Lin Wenyuan and the others, they exploded on their own, causing the protective spiritual light around their bodies to dim. This is a mid-grade level 2 spell, the Sea-Burning Flame Explosion. Why does his Sea-Burning Flame Explosion carry so much power? This is not supposed to be the power of a mid-grade level 2 spell at all. Among them, a square-faced man suddenly shouted in surprise. Hearing his words, Lin Wenyuan, the old man in his 80s, and the others suddenly reacted. That was right. Speaking of this mid-grade level 2 Sea-Burning Flame Explosion spell, their Lin family also had it and had people who cultivated it. However, they had never seen such a mid-grade level 2 area of effect spell to carry so much power. So much so that they couldn't even fight back. This was very abnormal. Just as this thought flashed through the minds of the few Lin family elders, they suddenly realized in shock that at some point, a needle like red dot had appeared between the brows of the old elder. Immediately after, the aura on his body dissipated, and his entire body suddenly fell down. He actually died. What in the world is that? Lin Wenyuan and the other 2 Lin family elders felt a chill down their spines. They did not sense any fluctuations just now, but the old man actually died. This was the most terrifying thing. They didn't even know when their opponent made a move. How could they fight back? When did the Shen family have such a powerful cultivator? If they had known this would happen, they wouldn't have attacked Jiang Qingxian so rashly. Unfortunately, it was too late. Because in the next moment, a needle-like Dharma artifact that was almost imperceptible pierced the square-faced man's forehead. Bl.net.